One feature we haven't included yet, which I discussed at the beginning of this module, is that we want to manage a list of participants. Now, we'll later in the course replace this with a list of nodes connected to our node, because we'll build a network of blockchain instances. But for now, let's manage our participants, so senders or recipients of transactions. And here, I said I want to use a set because we want a data structure which stores unique values only, and a set is such a data structure. So let's add that logic to our blockchain. Back in code, I want to add a new global variable, which I'll name participants. And now I want to create a new set. Now you can use the set function for that, for example, to create a new empty set, or you pass in an iterable, like an array, for example, and that will then pull out the element of that array and store it. Let me show that in the REPL real quick. So we can create a new set, for example, with max by passing a list that contains max like this. Beware, if you just would pass the string like that, a string can be interpreted as an iterable when it comes to this, and we would get this set. So we can store a set with multiple values like that. So this is one way how to initialize a set, or empty. Or we use curly braces like a dictionary. However, we now don't enter key value pairs, but simply the values we want to have in that set. And this will automatically be understood by Python and will get a set. So now we create or we initialize that set with max because we got that name, that participant right from the start. Now in add transaction, I obviously want to add new participants. So here I will call add and I will pass on the sender. And of course, I also will store the recipient. And the cool thing is, if we add a participant, which is already part of the set, like let's say max, if I'm sending data, I am the sender, well, then it will just ignore that. It will not throw an error, it will just ignore that and make sure that we only have unique values in the set. Now, it would be nice to also be able to output the participants. So I'll add a new option to my user interface down there. Output participants. And therefore, I also have to cover that case with a new else if statement, where check for the value being 4. And then here, I want to print my participants. With this, if I now restart my script here, if I rerun the file, let's quickly add a new transaction so that we have more than one participant. Let's say that's for manual, 10 coins. And let's now output the participants. And if we scroll up, we see this is our set of participants. And just as with other iterables, we can also use a for loop on that. We can use it in list comprehensions. So these things are all possible. We'll also have a closer look at what we can do with which type of iterable by the end of this module. So we're outputting the participants here. Now, it would also be nice if we could manage some balances for this, that we know how many coins each participant has. Let's work on that, and let's refine our transaction logic a bit in the next lectures.